How about that? There we go. There we go. I had there was a wave update, like I used the Elgato Wave mic and it updated, and apparently every time that I do the software update, it it recreates it as a new device, so OBS or Streamlabs OBS doesn't pick it up anymore, which is it's great. But yes, hello. How's everybody doing? How's things? Hello, John. How you doing? And I was saying, yes, I do know a little bit of sign language, but I don't remember what that sign language is. Hello, Simon. How you doing? How's things? Also, apologies if I am cupping my head or hiding myself in lights, because my head is killing me. Apparently, anytime I do a considerable amount of sort of vigorous exercise, I get a headache for like 2 days afterwards. Um, so yeah, I have taken some paracetamol, but it's gonna take a while to kick in. Hello, Budget Bench. How you doing, man? Any news in tech or with your various problems? Well, I mean, yes. I don't think that there's been that much news in tech beyond like Reddit disintegrating itself. I've been using Mastodon, which has actually been quite nice. It's quite refreshing to be there. But yeah, I have so I did the Hyundai Ioniq 5 review over on At the Wheel. If you haven't checked it out, please do. And I've also done the self-driving video, and then there's going to be a sort of the tech in the Ioniq 5 video on Monday. I've got a tablet and it's a 2-in-1 tablet Windows laptop tablet thing to review tomorrow. So yeah. Hello, Luca. Just got back from InfoSec earlier, got a free FIDO2 token. Nice! That's cool. I'm not entirely sure that you should trust anything from an InfoSec convention just because it's from an InfoSec convention. John, finally got my MIV GP Pro Black exhaust fitted. Thought I'm gonna have to go illegal and remove one of the DB killers. Really no need, sounds amazing, even with 2 DB killers in. Nice! That's cool. Glad you like it. Hello Ish and hello Commander Classified. How you doing, man? How's things? Some Chinese OEM supplier even better. Yikes. Ear to ear smile. Good man. Good. That's what we'd like to hear. Yeah. How has everybody's week been? I've been reviewing an Acer laptop actually. It's a bit of a weird spec, because it's an i7-13700HX with an RTX 4060 laptop GPU, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 512 gig SSD, but a 1600p display, 165Hz IPS panel. These things don't add up. How about you? What was the situation? Your fancy brakes? Kind of missed the conclusion. Oh, I fitted them. I bought a replacement caliper, so instead of the one with the crack in the the still semi-stuck bleed screw and then the crack in the casting around that bleed screw, I have I bought basically just a new refurbished caliper for the same price that I paid for the used one, and it's great. So I fitted them to the car, bled them, and then I re-bled them a week later, just to make sure all the air was out. And they're really nice. They feel a lot better than the stock ones. They don't vibrate at over 100 now, which is really nice. because that was one of the things is that I didn't feel overly confident in the brakes at higher speeds, even just motorway speeds really. They just didn't feel fantastic. Like, I had no issue knowing that they would stop the car, that's fine. They just didn't have a good feel, especially when I tracked the car 2 years ago now. That didn't feel great. So yeah, I'm glad that I have them now. Definitely feels better. The pedal feels a lot better. It doesn't feel like it wants to like go to the floor anymore. Like it. When I say go to the floor, I don't mean like I just push it and it like falls away. I mean, it has a weird thing. I think it's part of the bypass valve in the ABS pump, where as you push, when the ABS pump is running, it slowly bleeds pressure out of the pedal, which is really stupid. Doesn't feel nice, but it's what a lot of modern cars do. It doesn't feel like it wants to do that anymore, which is really nice. So it feels a lot better. So the funny thing is with the regen braking, I got back in my S4 yesterday or day before. They picked up the Ioniq on Tuesday, and I think I got in my S4 on Monday, and I cannot believe how quickly I got used to the regen braking. The regen braking in the Ioniq was pretty decent. Regen's, as hard as you would brake normally, basically, and obviously that's recouping energy. That's great. In my car, the engine braking does functionally nothing by comparison, and so I was like lifting off, trying to just slow down a bit, and I was like still closing up on cars in front of me, so I had to use the brakes, and it took me a minute to get used to having to, use the brakes rather than just let, engine braking or regen braking work. So, yeah. The ones that tried to kill me. Oh, yeah, on the EQS. Yes, there you go. Yeah, no, those didn't work at all. Well, the regen braking was terrifying because the pedal moves, but more than that is when I then went to the friction brakes underneath the regen, they just didn't do anything. They didn't slow the car down. I got Cayenne calipers to go on mine. Nice. I could definitely do with slightly larger calipers. I'm not changing them, God no. But I could do with going back to the same disc size, because I had to go down from 345 to 320mm, which isn't all that big a difference. It still stops pretty much margin of error the same, maybe slightly longer in full emergency stop braking. But the feel that I get out of these is well worth that, that price. And the fact that they were ridiculously cheap, like, including buying new discs, if I forget the broken caliper, it would have been about 500 for the full, for discs, calipers, and maybe 600 disc calipers and pads. But yeah, I could do. I wouldn't mind having slightly larger ones. I had to replace the wiring harness in the 70 Mark 1, just got the dash back together, and I don't need to rebuild the car, she runs well, but puking fuel everywhere, nightmare. Oh, now I need to rebuild the car, right, okay. Yeah, fair. I can imagine that's not the best of things to be happening. I mean, at least the car's, relatively simple, and there's only a couple of seals there. Not like a modern engine. Hello, Chris Beard, how you doing? How's things? After you play with all the options for a couple of months, you just use it like any other car and hardly touch the options again, except to constantly change your girlfriend's lighting colour scheme. Nice. There is one thing I use specifically in the mountain, left paddle braking. Yeah, that's fair. I did find myself using the, you hold the paddle to do the extra bit of regen. I did find myself using that a fair bit. But yeah, like I said, the only thing I think I included it in the review is that lane like departure assistant, whatever. Um, I'll see if I can find an image of the icon, and then you can look for it. Hyundai. I don't see the image that they use. It kind of looks like that, the image. It's two lanes, like that sort of triangle plus a car icon in the middle. That is that's the like lane departure thing that you can't turn off, or you can turn off while you're in the car, but not only for the time that you're in the car. The one that's just the steering wheel, the like, you know, motorway, highway, keep it in the center of the lane, and you know, you just hold the steering wheel, and as long as you keep kind of jog it a bit, it what you call it? It keeps it, you know, it basically semi self drives it. That feature you can turn on and off with the button on the steering wheel, but the lane assistant, like the departure assistant, that's the one that you can't turn off fully. And on country roads, as I think I showed in the video, it's actively dangerous. It steered me into the oncoming lane without, you know, like forcibly steered me into that lane because it thought I was like taking a corner, you know, not taking the corner, or the corner didn't exist. I don't know, but it steered me into the oncoming lane. And it would do the opposite. It would steer me into the bushes at the side of the road constantly. And the fact that it was 5 or 6 taps into the fairly slow menu is a problem. Lane assist is via the windshield camera, because after a well-aimed bird bombing, I got a notification on my phone to clean it before continuing my journey. Nice. Yeah, it is. It's via the camera on the front, which is a problem. It's a camera in the windshield, which is a problem, because if you don't have lane lines on both sides, it will freak out. If you take a corner on a country road, it will freak out. And the fact that it like wrenches you one way or the other, and then you have to then fight the car, is a horrifying experience. Hello, Harry. Hello. I don't know actually if I said hello, Zig. How you doing, man? Hello, Joe. How you doing? How's things? How's everybody? I would somehow rewrite the software so the damn thing doesn't have driver assistant that's not wanted. Yeah, I think, like, not that I would own one, because I wouldn't spend 50 grand on a new car, just, you know, especially not in my financial situation, but if I were to somehow acquire one as my daily driver car or whatever, I don't know, I would definitely be looking at, like, where can I get the Hyundai dealership diagnostic software to program that out of it. That would be a pretty high on my priority list to do on that one. Fair play, Joe. Well, a toast to your dad. Thanks for the comment, Ish. That just seems a bit, I don't know. Interesting choice. In mine, it doesn't work when you're not on the highway. Yeah, I don't know. In the one that I had, as you saw, it would it would be active constantly. There were a few occasions where it would stay off, but I think especially once you get into country roads where you're doing 60 miles an hour, the speed limit of a country road, it suddenly became very active and very like quick to react. And it's only because I'm I'm young and a gamer, and therefore have relatively fast reaction times, that it wasn't like there was no point where I wasn't able to save it, right? There was no point where we were actually in serious danger, because I was still, even though it fights you like crazy, I was still able to overpower it and keep us on the road, and that's fine. But if it's granddad whatever with a 3-second reaction time and it steers you into the oncoming lane, like, yeah. Well, stupid me spending 50 grand on a new car, so I want what I want, not what's forced onto me. I mean, oh, we're in very different, I think, states of life and financial states as well. So the me buying a new car, not on the cards anytime soon. But that doesn't mean that it's a stupid idea for everybody. I still don't really think that buying new cars is perhaps the best value for money, but I also appreciate that a lot of people do like the sort of convenience and reliability. Maybe why you found I don't know how true it is. The dealer told me that Hyundai had level 3 self-driving ready to go, but after seeing owners not participating, it scared off the management and they rolled back to level 2. Maybe why you found the hands-on wheel warning so demanding too. Perhaps, yeah. I think it, like, I don't mind that whole lane assistance stuff when it's on the motorway. If it's only on the motorway, that's fine. I understand that, being there. I don't really care that much, because I've never been personally, I've never been in a situation where I've been, falling asleep at the wheel and drifting over lanes or whatever. But at the same time, I understand why it's there. It is a useful feature. Nobody's perfect, and so having that sort of backup safety net is a great thing to have in a car, right? But I also really, really despise the lack of control that I had over it, and the fact that it would literally wrench me over, into a ditch or onto the other side of the road, and with no way for me to permanently disable that or to geofence it to motorways or whatever only. Have you given the Ioniq back now? Yes, they collected it on Tuesday. Yeah. Do I miss it? Not really. I like my S4 better, funnily enough. It's my car. The regen braking, as I was saying earlier, is something that I got used to so quickly, and then when I got in my S4 on Monday, and it didn't, slow down, I was quite shocked, and I had to get used to putting my foot on the brake pedal again. But yeah, that is, what's the word? But the car itself, I mean, it's a nice enough car. It's always nice driving around in something, nice, fancy, ridiculously expensive. But yeah, I like my S4 better. It's all-wheel drive. It's faster. It's more practical. It feels nicer. It's lower to the ground, which I like better. It's kind of a nicer place to be inside, personally, and it's mine. So yeah. Same with the iPedal. That makes a lot of sense because I remember there was the iPedal mode uh, when I drove the Ioniq 5 last year at the SMT press day, and I'm pretty sure that the Ioniq 6 that I drove also had the iPedal mode, but this one didn't. It's gone. Had to laugh. My rear seat belts are locked already. Yeah, that was that. Yeah, that happened pretty quick. I noticed that on the first drive. Like, yeah, you'd lock those seat belts together. Yeah. Damn old technology. Pressing brakes is so 2020. Yeah, pretty much. Which is why I upgraded them. I already have a 2019 Hilux Ute with a massive 6,700 kilometers on the clock so far. Fair? That doesn't sound very much. But yeah, Zig, I think that those I think those thoughts do ring true. That the top brass might be a little unsure of pushing further, self-driving and other technologies. And I don't blame them, especially on the self-driving front, because my general feeling on the self-driving tech is that until it's level 4 or 5, like full self-driving, you don't need to pay attention. Everything else is just kind of dangerous, because like even with how Hyundai have it at the moment, the what you call it? Brains come back. Oh, the sort of self-steering thing. Like, with my S4, I have cruise control. It's not adaptive cruise control, it's just normal cruise control. And the thing with my cruise control is that, I set it to whatever speed I want, but I cover the brake so that if anyone pulls out in front of me, if I need to slow down for any reason, I'm already on the brake pedal, I can just push and start slowing down. And obviously I have to steer the car. So I have to still be fully engaged. The only reason that the cruise control is there is to take a load off of my brain from needing to perfectly manage the throttle pedal. And so I really like having cruise control, it's great. The adaptive cruise control kind of just worries me a bit, just because it slows down itself, and that kind of freaks me out a bit. But the steering one, that's the one that I have a bit of a problem with, because sure, it does require you to keep your hand on the wheel, jog it every now and again, whatever, I don't know, so that you're in theory still paying attention. You're paying attention to the screen, not to the road, but whatever. But the thing is that once you start letting it steer itself on the motorway, and you're using the stop and go cruise control already, that's probably a given, you're no longer actually doing any of the actions that require you to pay attention. And so even if you have all the best will in the world, you're not like going to sleep, you're not looking at your phone, you are still like, looking out the car, your brain's not going to be engaged in that activity. I mean, I have ADHD, so that's going to be even worse for me, but like, just general human perception, you're not going to be engaged in that activity. And if someone pulls out on you very quickly, you have to hope that the car works it out, because you're not going to do it. And so it's just a bit, I don't know how I feel about it, but it's not all that positive. Yes, Joe, apologies, the air conditioning, which is just off stage right, is running to keep the room cool, because otherwise it would be an inferno in here and I would die. So yeah. Thank you, Ish. And yeah, I have a noise gate on, so most of the time when I'm not talking, it should be quiet, save for the music. Occasionally you might hear it, but yeah. At some point I'll remember to install RTX voice, and then it will be even better, but for the time being... I think there is an noise filter enabled in OBS, if I remember. No, there's not. There doesn't seem to be an option for me to add filters. I can only remove them. Or edit filters. There's a noise gate. I think the noise suppression in this would suck though, so I'm gonna go with no. Being somewhat familiar with driving myself, I abhor any kind of self-driving. All the levels are nonsense. Have you seen the state of the roads, even motorways and such, in most of the world? Yeah. The people promoting seem to think that all the roads in the world are perfectly maintained. Yeah. Britain's pretty bad. Like, I know that there are plenty of other places that are worse and don't even have, fully widespread road systems, but for having a widespread road system, Britain is pretty poor, especially when compared to most of Europe. But yes, so yeah, I also would add that. I feel like the point of level 5 self-driving is that it can handle everything, although even then I don't know that I... No, actually, I've had a thought. I think I would trust full level 5 self-driving as much as I trust a taxi driver, which is to say, not 100%. Especially when you get in a taxi and then they start, like, absolutely flying. Dodging and weaving in traffic. Like, I'm sure they're doing a great job and, whatever, but it is still kind of worrying. And I call my ute bouncy, geez, that a rough ride, hit a grain of sand and the whole thing throws you around. Yeah. John's comment about the oh, not that comment. It's not come up yet. The one about when you make level 6 self-driving AI that's capable of navigating some of the roads here, it's not going to matter anyway. It's going to be smart enough to take over the world by then. Exactly. Zeg, very good point. Not everyone even now is engaged or enjoy driving, the driving part of driving like me. Yeah. Well, a lot of people treat their cars like utilities, which is fine, but realistically, if you're the sort of person to treat your car like a utility, it would be better if you had a utility like public transport for you to use instead, because that's a win-win for everyone, because you get, cheaper, easier, transport, and then us driving people get the roads to ourselves. So yeah. I'm the first to talk down our homeland, but the roads are pretty good in my opinion. At least the camber isn't slanted to actively throw you off the road like Oz. Well, so the design of the roads, actually, the road safety, I seem to remember a couple, maybe like 2015 or something, there was a group of European road designers who came to the UK to, like, you know, analyze the road network. And they said that quite a lot of the road network was actively designed to cause collisions. um, you know, versus what you might see in Europe. But the state of the road, like the, you know, potholes and destroyed road surface, etc., is an apparent problem in a number of areas. There are, like, the motorways are generally pretty good, especially if you're not in the leftmost lane where all the lorries go. But the more local roads, depending on your locality and how much they spend on maintaining the roads, can be pretty bad. Oh yeah, I mean, we have people here blindly following GPS and then driving off in the pier into the sea. Do you really want those people to have level 3 or 4 self-driving vehicles? Well, I think ironically, I would probably say yes, because if they're driving a, you know, level 4 car, whatever, they already aren't going to pay attention enough to you know, not crash into the ocean. So at least if you had the self-driving vehicle is going to do 5% of the driving. And the 95% of the driving it's going to do is going to be more cautious than they ever would be, more conscientious than they ever would be, more, you know, aware of what's going on around it. Ironically, yes. Like, people like us who enjoy driving and who enjoy, like, being in the driver's seat and the, you know, process of slamming your foot down and having some fun, no, because we're the ones who are paying attention. But the sort of people who already aren't paying attention, yes, because all you're doing is removing their need to pay attention for the majority of their driving. Yes, it's not come up yet, but when it does, this is the point when it comes up, this is the point I was making, is the sort of people who wouldn't pay attention and who would rather, you know, who would drive off a pier into the ocean, as is apparently common, those are the people who should just take a bus or a train. I appreciate that they're, you know, in our current, that point, they're in the current position. It's not sensible for them to, because it is more convenient and often even fucking cheaper to drive. But in an ideal world where we had better public transport, actually invested in the fucking thing, yes, that would be good. Hey, our roads aren't that bad. Just look at some of our highways that go, say, Adelaide to Darwin. We put a bend in the road every so often, so you hopefully won't fall asleep. Nice. That is the thing about driving in America, especially, West Coast, is that you can be going down a slight hill and you can see a mountain range like 100 miles away, and the road is perfectly arrow straight the entire way to that mountain range. And you're not allowed to speed. Like, at least if they let you do, like, 150 on one of those roads, you know? Like, you'd stay, you know, pretty conscious. Like, if it was Autobahn rules, I mean, you're not gonna hit anything. There's nothing there. You're in a desert. But no, they fly planes overhead to check that you're not speeding. Ow. also, the other thing with exercising is that my body tends to not like it. I mean, my head doesn't, but my especially my lower back is not very happy. It never is. Autobahn is not completely straight because they're not as mental as Americans. Yeah. Grimsby is becoming rapidly and increasingly overpopulated with electric scooters. People don't need to worry about the crappy roads now because they all fly around on those speedy little death sticks. Yeah, it's kind of... If it was an electric skateboard, I have less problem with that because it's more stable. But when it's a scooter, oh, they're just terrifying at speed. Like, I mean, the rental scooters that are massive. Like, I went to Berlin. I think it was 2019 for IFA actually. Brought my now wife along, and then we stayed a couple of days extra. And, you know, just had a little holiday in Berlin. And one of the days we rented some Lime scooters to go through the Biergarten, or what was it called? The big garden west of Berlin. And we went to the Biergarten. But there's a bigger garden around it. The big like forest park. And so we're riding around those, and they're so fucking heavy that you really like. It's not that big a deal, but yeah, the what you call it? The like Xiaomi ones, you know, the ones you can buy on AliExpress or whatever, that are a lot lighter, aren't just like a big steel girder. Those are scary. Yes, Joe. Exactly. Exactly. Guys that work chip their electric bikes to go 40 to 50 mile an hour. I mean, nice. I do have an e-bike, and the speed sensor died on it. That's why I'm in lots of pain all over, because the speed sensor died, and so I had to lug around a ridiculously heavy, fat-tired e-bike without any assistance for a fair distance yesterday. And so I bought a new speed sensor that'll be here soon, but the in the process of replacing that, I may or may not try and find the firmware that lets me unlock the speed restriction, because it tops out at 18 miles an hour, which isn't quite enough to ride on the road. And while I don't need to ride on the road much, it would be nice to be able to ride on the road comfortably to get to the park that I go to. So, yeah, that might be nice. What are the benefits of bikes with fat tires? Well, so my e-bike is an e-mountain bike. So the wider tires have a better grip off-road, which is what I generally use it for. Means they have higher rolling resistance, which is annoying. But it's better for like doing the downhill that I use it for. So yeah. Driving Toronto to San Francisco, a Utah local gave us directions to go around the corner without saying it was a gentle 200-mile curve. He must have been laughing. Nice. GG. So I'm guessing that you won't be participating in any electric scooter reviews anytime soon. Well, I don't mind the idea of having one for, like, if I lived closer to the city, I might understand why you might have one, and, you know, I wouldn't be too bothered by having one. The only thing is you can't really secure them very well. You know, with a bike, you can secure it through the frame and through the wheels, and so, you know, it's relatively secure. But how are you gonna secure the scooter? Like, really tight? You know, one of the locks where you can cinch it down, perhaps. But like, so yeah. Police will beat you up if you have an electric scooter in London and take it. I mean, I wouldn't be that surprised, to be honest. Zip tied to a Rottweiler. Sure. But yeah, no, probably not. I don't really have space to keep one, nor a need to use one, so no. Down under, we can't have a 500 horsepower car or an assault rifle, but damn it, we have bloody drink at 18. That is one of the funny things about America, you know. You can sign up to the military, you can buy guns, you can drive at 16, but you can't have alcohol, like, you can't purchase alcohol until you're 21. You can literally serve in the military for 3 years before you're allowed to drink. Hey, you could create a solar power system for the scooter. Unlimited power! Yeah. I have a big arse chain for bike and motorcycle. Don't use them though. Very safe where I live. Fair. I don't tend to be. Well, when I had the motorbike, I didn't really leave it anywhere, and when I did, again, pretty safe. The mountain bike, again, I don't really like. I go out and ride it, and then I come home. I don't leave it somewhere. I like the British model where we give young people alcohol and automobiles at approximately the same time. Oh no, get him, he's having a Foster's. You get alcohol from a kid in the UK. What do you mean? Missing out on the firearm trifecta. Well, you can have firearms in the UK, you just have to have... You have to own a home, which is quite a big barrier to entry right now. Well, John, you generally don't think of it that way because the reason you like it's a coincidence that you can have you gain access to both of those at basically the same time. And that's just because we've decided that 18 is old enough to be considered an adult, and therefore it's your own goddamn life. Do whatever you want with it. Firearms and aircraft are available legally at much younger age. Yes, which is fun. Oh, it's not come up yet. Why is YouTube always so slow for? Why is the plugin so slow? John has a fantastic comment that you'll absolutely love. It's a UK right of way to be sneaking a blue lightning with your mates at 15 and pretending to be off your rocker. They can also throw you in prison at 18. Yes, that's the flip side of having responsibility, is that you have consequences for your actions. Not that you don't have consequences for your actions when you're a child, but less. The paracetamol ain't doing very good. I'm probably not helping myself by staring at a ridiculously bright light. It's fine. The UK justice system is terrible. You'll just get a couple of months and £100 fine. Yeah. Unless you live in London, then you have consequences for the Metis actions. Yeah. Luca, I know what we're what you getting at, and I know the rules. Not that I drink alcohol at all, but I know of them. It's just kind of funny that you're quoting the exact laws of this. It's sad how, as a full-grown adults, we have almost 24/7 access to cake, and we just don't go and buy it. Ah, see, here's where you're going wrong. You should buy it. How'd you think I got this belly? What's funny is that my spine is the reason why it looks like I have quite the belly. My spine is disfigured. Is the closest word, which pushes my stomach out a fair bit. Something that I noticed in my At the Wheel review. I'm drinking now. I got it. Wow. Oh. I asked AMD about the was it W7900s, their data center GPU, or the like server workstation GPU, like NVIDIA Quadro, well, formerly Quadro RTX A, because that has 48 gigs of VRAM and a load of stuff, a load of compute power, rather, obviously. So I'm hoping to get my hands on one for a little bit to test out some of the AI training stuff, especially the large language model side of things. That'd be really cool to see. Even some of the image generation stuff, and I've forgotten. Nope, brain's gone completely blank. Where am I at? Tried to stop taking painkillers because they always make me too hot. I don't know that I've ever had that issue. And I did take I was on tramadol opioids for a while. As well as I had cocodamol for my stomach ulcer in college. I was 17. That's the reason why I only passed my driving test in July. Because I had to stop driving lessons for 2 months. Otherwise, I would have passed in like March. I had a lot of driving experience already before I started taking my test. I drove a little Ford rally car, like manual rally car at 10. I had a like driving experience, like super young driving experience day. It was like a little road course. So I drove a manual at 10. I drove a Ferrari 360 when I was 16. Another experience day, and an Evo 10. Drove my uncle's what's it called, the VW Transporter when I was like 12 as well, on the closing down RAF base. It was fun. And yes, I played a lot of racing games. um, so yeah. I can't, well, I do take ibuprofen, I'm not meant to because of my stomach, but I just have food before and it's fine. I've done a lot of driving experience days, so I've driven basically every sports supercar, a Nissan GTR, BMW i8, weirdly once, Aston Martin DBS, Lamborghini Gallardo LP 540, Ferrari 458, McLaren 570S, Porsche 911 Turbo, Porsche Cayman twice, and probably a couple more that I'm forgetting. Actually, I've driven a Ferrari 360 twice. So yeah, quite a lot of experience in fast cars. Aston Martins look like they'd be a comfy ride. Well, so the DBS that I drove was a manual, and I was also 17 or 18. And I really didn't have the forearm strength to put it into gear, and also the instructor was an utter dick. So it wasn't the best time, but it was fun. It was quite nice. I did the BMW M4 day at Donington. That was really good. Like 30 minutes in the car, racing it around Donington, going as fast as you can, and have an instructor telling you, you know, how to go faster. I feel like opioids make me feel like Adonis as well, Luca. I noticed a weird statement on my cake once. It said serves one small family, so apparently I now identify as a small family. Mood. Oh dear. I wonder where Andy got his interest in cars from. Funny that. Zig. It was oh no, it was John that I intended to compliment John on his excellent English, because I'm not even that good, although I am Scottish, not English, so I've got an excuse. But yes, yes, the English has far too many meanings of the same word, and also spellings of similar words that even are said similarly but mean very different things. I mean, French is just as bad, but I don't speak French, so. That was laughing at issues comment there. I'm almost out of my Seagate brand water. Oh dear. By the way, before I forget, shall we see the return of the white shirt? Yes, at some point, when I remember. This was on top of the pile. At some point, I'll swap back to my. I mean, the new white shirt. These are the newer, large size ones, which fit me a lot better. So I'm definitely sticking with the newer ones. But yes, I'm sure I'll swap back to white at some point. I love the Wii steering wheel. Hey, it's a Momo wheel. but I do see what you mean. I had to come up with a logo, and a steering wheel made the most sense because, you know, at the wheel. And then I picked my favourite Momo wheel and traced it out by hand. It's the same thing that I did with the like tech collage shirt, all the different cases and coolers and stuff. I just traced all of that by hand in Photoshop. The particles tee, the stripes tee, and the GPU tee were all things that I rendered in Blender. I modeled them all myself and then rendered them out, and I made little animations for them. They didn't work quite as well as I wanted, but yeah. Yes, Ish, that's one of the reasons why I don't wear the white that much. As you saw with the last white t-shirt, it just becomes off-white very quickly. I've always felt tooth decay white to be flattering over my moves. Fuck. Oh dear. Fair. What are you like? Salutations, B100K, how you doing? What was I gonna say? I've already forgotten. As I said last week, these shows are just a great way for you to watch a man break down. Being a grease monkey, I always wear black shirts. Same. Well, actually, I wear white shirts, but I wear white shirts that I don't care about, and then they do get dirty, and then I don't care. What do you think about Windows 11? Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. It's the UI change is something that I generally don't like. I would, whenever I get a Windows 11 machine, I revert it back to normal. The removal, like the start menu, is just an add menu that if you click enough times you might find some applications. That's something I absolutely hate. And then there are plenty of other plenty of other little annoyances and issues that I still really don't like. And so, yeah, not a big fan personally. I think Windows 11, kind of like Infinity or Communism, Windows 10 was the last Windows, but some Windows are more last than others. Yeah, pretty much. I think, at some point we will obviously, in the same way that I really liked Windows 7 and I just stayed on Windows 7 until Windows 10 came out, we will eventually migrate off of Windows 10, whether that is to, Windows 12 or not. I think that the only reason why Windows 11 exists is because of Intel and their hybrid architecture. Because of that, the need for a completely new scheduler that that shift basically meant they really needed a new version, and I'm sure Microsoft was itching to tweak the UI some more, put some more ads in, whatever. So, yeah, that's kind of really why it exists. So I kind of doubt that we'll see a Windows 12 for a long time. Probably before Windows 10 stops being supported. Not before Windows 10 stops being supported. But for me, I'm sticking with Windows 10 until I absolutely need to. There's no major benefit for me to swap or upgrade. And I don't really feel like being Microsoft's beta tester anymore. So, yeah. I used to drive daily drive Windows 7 as my main machine. Windows 10 was bad enough for me to turn into a penguin. Fair. Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame you. My uncle bought a new laptop and I had to install Windows. He was mad because I couldn't install Windows 7 like the last laptop. Was forced to put Windows 11 as there's literally no driver support for even Windows 10. Yeah, it's kind of not surprising really. What mic do you use? An Elgato Wave 3. Although the quality of said mic is tempered by the fact that I have my air conditioning running just over there. I like it for work. The enterprise version has yet to advertise to me in a way that I've noticed. Fair. Microsoft Word versus LaTeX. I don't think I've ever used LaTeX, so I guess Word, but I also don't use Word, I use Google Docs and Google Drive. So Windows 11 is good now, to be honest. I have 150 users running it now, and we have found some stuff we get from vendors works better on Windows 11 now. I mean, fair play. Each to their own. Hang on, do you benchmark on 10 or 11? It depends what I'm testing. So a bit of both. I assume you were replying to Ish on that one, but my favorite IDE is, I guess, Visual Studio Code. I mean, I know that I've just said two different IDEs, but depends what I'm using. I use Visual Studio a lot for the, my open source latency and response time tool development focus for the apps for this, but I use VS Code for any web development. So yeah. Alright, I think my head hurts enough that I'm going to go away now. The usual spiel. These are every Thursday night at 8 PM UK time, so if you want to come back next week and watch the grown man just fail, then feel free. Otherwise, videos tomorrow, Monday, including the other stuff. Definitely go check out the videos from the last couple if you haven't seen them already. The channel is, like, the views aren't doing great, so if you can take a look at those, that'd be much appreciated. Leave a comment if you can. But yeah, I'll see you all next week. Bye, guys.